This programme's brought to you by Dunlop Tyres, Autosportinsurance.com, Praga New Generation and Spa05.com. Hello and welcome to our season review of the 2012 Supercar Challenge as we look back at some of the highlights of the year. And if you haven't been aware of the format of the Supercar Challenge, here's what it's all about. It's one of the biggest GT and touring car series in Europe, and it's popular because it works to simple regulations. Cars are divided into 6 different classes based on engine power and the weight of the car. The Super GT, GT and GTB classes make up for one group, the other Super Sport, Sport 1 and Sport 2 divisions. They all compete in 2 one-hour races per race weekend, and each car has to do a 1-minute pit stop to allow for a driver change during the middle of the race. The more successful a driver is based on podium results, the longer their pit stop will be. The more podiums, the more result seconds are added to the 1 minute that every car must spend stationary. In order to compensate for longer stops, sometimes drivers do have to go a little bit beyond the limit. Well, there's a wide variety of drivers and cars, and the rules are loose to try and ensure as much variety as possible. That is Supercar Challenge. This was what happened in 2012.
Life is a race. A race marked by a start and a finish. It's all about what we learn during this race and how we apply it. This determines whether our participation has had any value. Learn from our successes as well as our failures. Only then have we reached our full potential. Welcome to the Supercar Challenge.
Drivers push to the limit to win, but sometimes they push a little too far.
Heel dichtbij. Die denkt zij nog in een gat wat er eigenlijk niet is. En hij drukt door. Smack my bitch up.
There were a total of 11 racing weekends in the 2012 calendar. We head first to the third round at a very sunny Nürburgring in the German Eifel Mountains late in May. Lovely spring weather, high temperatures and high hopes for most drivers for scoring much needed points in Super GT, GT and GTB. We'll take a look at Sunday's race with Saturday's race results making up the grid. 60-minute race, 29 laps of the Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit. So on pole in Super GT, Noel Kohler in his Corvette. From Barry van Elk in the Mosler, we ride with Philip Ribbons lying 5th on the grid. And with the red and white Corvette on our right-hand side, we sit with Barry van Elk in the Mosler. As ever, a rolling start to try and get all of this horsepower onto the road. Looking back at row 2 of the grid, Alex van Toff in the Corvette, Jan Verslijs in the Ferrari, and a great start from Barry van Elk. Great start also from Peter Verslijs. He comes from 11th and he's up into 6th position in the Ferrari by the first corner. They go 3 wide behind the Mosler. Little lock up there from Noel Kohler's Corvette. Little touch with Jan Verslijs. And through the Mercedes arena, the yellow Corvette of Rick Abresh moving up into 2nd place on the inside as everybody jockeys for position. Through they go, inside leader Barry van Elk. It's Abresh who leads. Peter Verslijs in the Ferrari also challenging on the exit. Through he goes. Van Elk struggling for grip in the slow corners. Little bit of bodywork flies up there from the red and white Corvette of Noel Kohler. Shouldn't do too much damage. With Philip Ribbons in 8th place, but Lonchin's Ferrari right in front. Jan Verslijs ahead of him. Everybody jockeying for position on the cold tyres as the yellow Corvette of Rick Abresh leads. Peter Verslijs in the Ferrari in 2nd. Barry van Elk holding the rest up in 3rd place. And the white Mosler of Martin Short coming from the back of the grid very quickly is already in the top 10. And Short in the background of the picture making moves. Dives up the inside to pick up another spot as they come up towards the Kumo curve on board with Philip Ribbons. All these huge muscle cars absolutely flat out around the Grand Prix circuit at the Nürburgring. Launching up the inside, squeezes by for Slice. Ribbons tries to get in as well. Long nose of the Viper is in the gap, but the rest of the car isn't. And look at the white car. Martin Short takes advantage, goes by Philip Ribbons. He squeezes up to 8th place. He's got a good run going here as well. Ribbons over the curbs, but Short's got good traction in that rear engine Mosler. And he's starting to outdrag the Ferrari of Jan Verslijs. He's got the inside line down into the braking area for the first turn. The white Mosler moves up to 7th. Meanwhile, Bert Lonchin right in front in the Ferrari, putting Noel Kohler's red and white Corvette under pressure. That's the battle for 5th. Verslijs losing a spot to Philip Ribbons as well. Ribbons up to 8th, Jan Verslijs down to 9th. Despite the high track temperatures, the Ferrari seems to be struggling for tyres. The Mosler is definitely not. This is an attacking drive from Martin Short. He's the European distributor for Mosler. Has raced them very successfully across Europe. Gets the run going. Down to the inside, into the Dunlop curve. Drops down into the banked right-hander, up to 6th position. Next up, flashing the headlights at Noel Kohler. The Mosler actually uses a lot of Corvette components. Look at the rear lights, they're identical. And the motor is the same as the Corvette as well, a GT1 power plant. But through on the inside goes Short, up to 5th place at the Kumo curve. And his next target will be the group in front. Trying to put himself into a podium spot. He'll need to get by fellow Mosler driver Barry van Elk to do so. Here comes Ribbons. Got a good run going on the Ferrari, but there's not enough room. Lonchin, meanwhile, launches up the inside of the Corvette. So Bert Lonchin past Noel Kohler for 6th place. And up the inside goes Philip Ribbons as well. The Corvette struggling. Cold track because of the ambient wind. Even though the sun is out. Noel Kohler spun in Saturday's race. Obviously he's taking no chances here. Meanwhile, Philip Ribbons having a look here at Bert Lonchin. Can't quite squeeze through. Mistake by Lonchin under braking. Outbrakes himself. Almost allows the Viper to get alongside. Ribbons tries to cut back to the inside. No room there. Bert Lonchin being very crafty in his defence. And he needs to be. The Viper, once it gets its legs stretched, is very quick indeed. Oh, but what's this? Drama for Philip Ribbons. Well, the car had a big crash in Zolder in the opening round. And it's all gone quiet. Looks as though he's got no engine. Well, that might be related to the crash at Zolder. Team push it into the pits as he rolls in dead stick. And as they check the car out, they'll be desperate to get it back on track. Every point will count now. They can't afford to score a 0, but it doesn't look good. Not good news. Sounds like we've lost a belt on the oil pump, completely gone. Luckily we've got a fail-safe system, says Philip. Immediately it shuts off the engine if the oil pressure drops, which is good news, but it means the race is over. And they will not finish this race. Well, here's the battle for 3rd place. The White Mosler now driven by Simon Wagner, taking over from Martin Short. Diedrich Seithoff in the Corvette in 3rd place. They're behind Peter Verslijs, who took the lead after the pit stops, with less results seconds than leader Rick Abresch. But this misjudged last lap overtaking effort by Diedrich puts Wagner into a spin. Unfortunate, but a bit of a 50-50 call.
He was defending, but he just defended too late and he came across.
Well, Martin Short doesn't really blame Diedrich Seithoff 100%. However, it's down to the stewards. Peter Verslijs ends up being first at the checkered flag. Brother Jan was 5th on the road, but with Simon Wagner dropping out and Diedrich Seithoff getting a 60-second time penalty for causing that incident, Jan Verslijs moves up to 3rd place. Rick Abrecht and Diedrich Seithoff, who started the season together but are now separate, are joint championship leaders despite that time penalty. Pim van Riet in the black BMW M3 Silhouette started in second place but won the race in the GT class because his major rivals ran into technical dramas. He finished ahead of Wolf Narten and Jaap van Lagen's V8 Star Omega in third and Barry Mason's Dodge Viper in second. And together with teammate Henk Thees, it is Pim van Riet who leads the GT standings once more ahead of Barry Mason. Charlie Friens and René Weinen in the Porsche GT3 Cup car started second in the GTB class, but they too were able to claim victory after pole sitter Dan Meyer dropped out with a puncture. They finished ahead of Kees Kreiner in the Aston Martin, Errol Artan third in his Porsche, and with just a 2-point spread covering the top three, the GTB class is as tight as ever. Coming up next, more season highlights from Zandvoort with the Supersport, Sport 1 and Sport 2 divisions. This programme's brought to you by Dunlop Tyres, Autosportinsurance.com, Praga New Generation and Spa05.com. Welcome back to the season highlights of the Supercar Challenge. We continue at Zandvoort on the Dutch North Sea coast in the sand dunes. The Supercar Challenge visited Zandvoort 3 times in total this season. We take a look at Saturday's race for Supersport, Sport 1 and Sport 2 in round 7 of the championship. The battle for the class lead between Ferry and Robin Monster in their Seat Leon Supercopa and Koen Bogaerts and Peter van Solen, their arch rivals, in their BMW M3 GTR. As the cars are coming out to the grid, the track is still fairly damp. A drying line, but lots of wet patches and chilly weather, and nevertheless, a lot of cars have headed in to change from wets to slicks on the formation lap. They will start from the pit lane. Nico van Vliet in 6th position, Bob Herber on the right. Trying to get a bit of a run onto the straight, it seems, Van Vliet. He's not lined up side by side. In front of us, Koen Bogaerts, and on the right-hand side, Ferry Monster. Away he goes, doesn't make a pass before the start line, trying to go around the outside of Ferry Monster. But no, can't do it. Bob Herber goes through. So too Peter Huvenaars. So instead of gaining a place, looks like he's lost 2. He's stuck on the outside at Tarzan. That didn't work well for him. On board with Ferry Monster, 4th place. He was 3rd on the grid, don't forget. Koen Bogaerts has gone by him. And looking back, you can see the green Honda of Sport 1 leader Michael Verhagen. Look at him, he's on an all-intermediate setup, and that seems to be working really well early on. While Nico van Vliet just managing to hold on there by holding the inside line, forcing the Honda driver to ease out of it. He's got Peter Huvenaars in the BMW 1 Series GTR right in front, that car boasting a 3.2 litre engine. The Speedtech Silhouette car with a 4 litre V6. Right behind is the Honda, and right up the inside he comes in the wet conditions. Too much power for Nico van Vliet to be able to fight him off. The Honda's got much better grip. Again trying the outside line, and again just having to back out of it to avoid the collision there. Meanwhile, on board with Bob Herber, 5th place. Ferry Monster's Seat Leon in front, just cannot get the car slowed down. Those rear intermediates may not be helping him. Herber dives by, now breaks himself a little, but gets the car in front and blocks the Seat on the exit of the corner. Peter Huvenaars right behind as well. And Huvenaars looking up the inside. Ferry is really struggling, can't get the power on in the front wheel drive machine, it just understeers away. Huvenaars goes through. And Ferry Monster 4th to 6th. Here's the leader though, Helmut-Jan van der Slik in his Speedtech Silhouette. He's in a race of his own until this happens. Fire inside the cockpit. Turns out it was a short circuit in the wiring loom, but a worrying moment for him. Well, after the compulsory pit stops, Peter van Solen sliced through the top 3 to claim victory. The Monster brothers, Robin and Ferry, claimed 2nd, Peter Huvenaars in 3rd. It's the third win in a row for Van Solen and teammate Koen Burkhardt, but Ferry and Robin Monster still have to win their first race of the season. Despite that, their consistency means they still top the championships in the Super Sport class. Well, remember Michael Verhagen in the Honda S2000? Scintillating pace, but he was out of the race. Noise restrictions in Zandvoort claiming another victim. He said, "We installed a new exhaust, but after a few laps it shook the filling loose and started to resonate. It was too loud. We were taken out of the race. We were leading and 6 overall, I think. Everything was going great beyond our expectations. Well, at least we know what the problem is, so we can try again tomorrow. Not sure yet whether it'll rain or stay dry. I'm hoping for a wet track so we can get to the front again. We'll have to see how it goes tomorrow." Well, despite dropping back in the first part of the race, Erik van den Munkhoff benefited from Michael Verhagen dropping out. So after pole, a great win for van den Munkhoff. He takes the lead again in the championship. Still in third in Sport 2, Frank Beedorf pushing hard to gain on Rob Neiman in the Renault Clio, but rides the wet curbs and spins out. A hard impact, but it's mainly cosmetic damage at the rear and he is able to continue. Well, that incident a long way behind the race leaders. Toon Rutgers and Jeremy Adams in their Lotus. They claim pole and won the Sport 2 class even after technical woes. Rob Neiman was second in his Clio to defend his championship lead. And despite crashing, Frank Beedorf and his teammate Michael Kars finished the race and remained second in the season's points race. Well, from one historic race circuit to another, and it's a track that every driver loves, Spa-Francorchamps in the Belgian Ardennes. We're going to take a look at the second time the Supercar Challenge visited, round 10 of the championship. With all divisions present and full, it's a grid of over 60 cars. We'll look first at Super GT, GT and GTB. As ever, Sunday's race grid decided by Saturday's race encounter, leaving Alex Van Toff and Dudrik Saitov's Corvette on pole. From Jim and Glyn Geddy, the reigning British GT champions, they're in a McLaren MP4. On board with Jan Versluis, Jaap van Lagen and Wolf Narten on the right there in a Chevy Corvette. Sean Bowles' Ferrari right in front of us, GT pole sitter starting 6th overall. Getting ready for the lights to change and already starting to accelerate. Here we go. Jump start for Jaap van Lagen. Got away very quickly in the Corvette. He was already between the row in front shortly as the lights changed. A little bit of outbraking by Wim Lumbeck in the Viper. And it looks like all the front runners are safely through. And that's no mean feat at La Source. Well, great start for Jaap van Lagen. Now up to 4th place. He started 7th on the grid. Battle on for 5th place, moving alongside us. That's Noel Kohler's Corvette down into Eau Rouge. So Jan Versluis 8th up to 5th, then back down to 6th place away from the start. A great exit from Eau Rouge for Jaap van Lagen in 4th place. 2 wide. The McLaren leads, no, the Porsche leads, and through into 2nd place goes Van Lagen behind Nicky Pastorelli. And the leader on to the Kemmel Straight is down to 4th place, Alex Van Toff, and lots of similar overtaking manoeuvres going on under braking at Les Combes. So a new race leader, just a couple of corners in. We're on board with Jan Versluis. This is the battle for 5th place. Versluis tries to dive inside, can't quite squeeze through. Meanwhile, Nicky Pastorelli, the race leader in the Porsche RSR, right behind him Jaap van Lagen. So this is Super Cup Porsche driver in a Corvette versus GT1 driver in a Porsche. Jaap right behind Nicky as they come out of Eau Rouge. Can he carry the momentum? Yes, he does, and look at that. Great slingshot straight by him. Up into P1, Pastorelli going to try and chase and counter-attack at the top of the hill. He's in the tow now. Can he pull out into Les Combes? He can. Can he retake the lead? He can't quite outbrake the Corvette. Well, Van Lagen manages to start easing away, but for Pastorelli, there's more trouble in amongst the back markers. Gets out of shape at Blanchiment at high speed. And unfortunately, cannot save the car. Well, he manages to get it going once more, but during the compulsory pit stop, the damage is clear. He drops back later in the race. Jaap van Lagen hands over his Corvette to gentleman co-driver Wolf Narten, and they finish second as the battle-scarred Porsche continues. Victory goes to Robert de Graaf and Philippe Ribbens, having started from 50th at the back of the grid. Jaap van Lagen and Wolf Narten victory dance in second place, with Jim and Glyn Geddy, the father and son combination from Great Britain, on the podium in third. While Philippe and Robert drop back to third place in the championship standings after Spa, but still have a chance of becoming runners-up. 2 Brits and 1 Frenchman take the podium in the GT class. Championship regulars nowhere to be seen. Pim van Riet fourth in the race. Barry Mason drops out. So Van Riet and Thijs gaining ground on Mason in the championship. A lineup of Werner van Herk in the Mazda, Errol Artan in the Porsche and Kees Kreiner in the Aston on the track, and that is how they would finish in the GTB class. Errol Artan moving up to third in the championship. The top 3 remain in the title hunt. Kees Kreiner with the narrow advantage over his rivals. Stay with us for the season finale at Assen as the titles are decided. This programme's brought to you by Dunlop Tyres, Autosportinsurance.com, Praga New Generation and Spa05.com. Welcome back to the 2012 Supercar Challenge. The whole year came down to the final round at Assen in the north of Holland. Assen's been on the Supercar Challenge calendar for years now, including the very popular and crowded Gamma Racing Day in the middle of the summer holidays. And of course, let's not forget the Dunlop finale races in late autumn. Quite a contrast to the Gamma Racing Day, as temperatures are almost below zero. But things do tend to heat up during the finals, as it's the decisive round to see who'll become champion in each of the 6 divisions. Reigning Super GT champion and current points leader Diedrich Seithoff has a friend, Jeff Gorvet, the GT car from the Pixar movie Cars 2. Well, Diedrich's got an advantage as well. He's got a 33-point championship lead with a maximum of just 44 on offer for the weekend, so he can take it relatively easy. Alongside him and Jeff in the Madden Daring garage is another Corvette driven by Alex Vanthoff. He's second in the championship, but chasing hard. The Dodge Viper GT2 of Robert de Graaf and Philippe Ribbens lies in third place, 37 points behind the leader. Well, Diedrich Seithoff needs to finish the first race of the weekend in 6th position to secure the title. Seithoff is in to do his mandatory pit stop, but it's a long wait because he has to have 30 seconds longer in success seconds than Robert de Graaf and Philippe Ribbens. But he also knows teammate Alex Vanthoff is no longer a threat, having picked up a puncture and being stranded out on the circuit. Diedrich heads out of the pit lane and drops back to 4th place, still well placed for winning the championship. And if he can keep a steady pace and not stress the machinery, the title will be his. And that is exactly what he does, to take the Super GT Championship title for 2012. It's been a great year for me, more than great. The team did a superb job. They're great to work with. I learned a lot this season. This crown is for everyone's hard work. Finally, I'm the champion. Well, Diedrich clearly not happy with 4th place because he can't celebrate his 2nd championship victory in a row on the podium, but the Madden Daring team very happy. As Alex Vanthoff dropped out with a puncture, de Graaf and Ribbens move up to 2nd in the championship, but they'll need to secure that in the 2nd race of the weekend. On to the next division in GT, 2 championship contenders. 2nd place is JR Motorsports BMW Silhouette drivers Pim van Riet and teammate Henk Thijs. Well, they've won 5 races this season, but will their experience be enough to eliminate the 15-point disadvantage they have to championship leader Barry Mason in his Dodge Viper GT3? He's won 3 races, but he's been more consistent, Mason knows he must do a perfect job. He takes pole position in qualifying and never handed over the lead in the race. He won Saturday's encounter, Steve van Bellingen in second, and Barry's greatest rivals, Pim van Riet and Henk Thees, finishing third. So a second title is tied up. The GT crown goes to Barry Mason. Looks like the family are just as happy as him and the team.
It was
a long race. He says the last laps was so long, the seconds just crawling away. But I made it. I'm so happy to take the championship title. The race win guaranteed Barry the single point for pole in Sunday's encounter, and that means he can no longer be caught. Kees Kreiner, the Aston Martin driver, leads the GTB standing. He's won 4 races this year, but he only finished 6th in Saturday's encounter. He knows that he can win the GTB championship on Sunday by just finishing, but that's not really his style. Second in points, the Lammertink Porsche drivers, René Weinen and Charlie Friens. They're only 16 points behind, but they'll have to push hard and hope for mechanical woes for the Aston if they're to claim the title. Jeroen de Boer sits on pole position for the final race of the series in his BMW Z4 ahead of the Viper of Philip Ribbens and Robert de Graaf. Roger Grol's third, Peter Verslijs in 4th place. Jaap van Lagen lies 5th in his Corvette with Bert Lonchin alongside him. Diederik Seithoff not driving in this race. Rick Abrecht let him do Saturday's encounter. Abrecht starting from the back of the grid. And as they come out at the final chicane, heading to the start-finish line for the last time, a rolling start to the season. Peter Verslijs already attacking hard, trying to put pressure on Roger Grauls in the Mosler for 3rd place. He tucks inside and goes inside the Viper for 2nd as well. A great start from the Ferrari driver. Philip Ribbens runs out wide on there. Jaap van Lagen comes through. Ribbens down to 6th position. Bert Lonchin in 3rd place for Slice, their car 130 in 2nd place behind Jeroen de Boer. Then it's Lonchin and the Corvette and the Mosler side by side. Taki van der Ender's V8 Ford Silhouette leading in the GTB class. Barry Mason leading GT. Barry van Elk right at the back in his Mosler. Aston of Kees Kreiner 3rd in the GTB class behind Charlie Friens. He's been cautious at the start of the race, can't afford to get knocked off. Well, after the pit stops, having moved up into 3rd place, gaining on Errol Artan in the Porsche. And Artan trying to go around the outside of Steve van Bellingen into the chicane, spins out. He gets stuck in the gravel trap and he is soon forced to retire after being dragged out and getting to the pit lane. He loses 2nd in the race and the chance of being the championship runner-up. Meanwhile, as the sun starts to set on the season, catching Nelson van der Poel for the lead of GTB in that Ford Mondeo Silhouette that he took over from Jackie van der Ende, and Kees Kreiner squeezes through. Well, then he pulls away and heads to the checkered flag, claiming the GTB championship crown with a convincing race win.
Winnen kampioen, ja, het is te mooi om waar te zijn.
Winning the final race and the championship doesn't get any better, he says. We've been working so hard all season to get to this. It's been an up and down year. I'm thrilled for the team. They've worked hard through the night to get the car ready. They're always there for me. It's their championship as well.
Supergoed.
Teammate Wilfried Herbert is also on the podium, and with Jackie van der Ende and Nelson van der Poel scoring strongly again, they move up to 3rd place in the championship as Errol Artan moves down to 4th spot. Lots of shuffling around on the final day of the season. Leading the Supersport class, Robin and Ferry Monsters, the brothers driving a Seat Leon Supercopa, but they'll still need to drop 1 score before the end of the year, according to the championship rules. Their closest rivals, JR Motorsports, Koen Burkhardt and Peter van Solen, who drive a BMW M3 GTR. They're 16 points behind. They took 2nd in the race on Saturday, the Monsters brothers dropping that score, so there's a 2-point advantage for Burkhardt and van Solen as they get to the line on Sunday. It couldn't be much closer. Well, with the Ferry Monster-driven car in 6th position, Peter Hovenaar starts on pole. He's 3rd in the championship. Peter van Solen, the points leader, alongside him. Now it's all about trying to claim as many points as possible. Good start from Ferry Monster. Gets by Bob Herber there, dropping behind us. Down into the first corner, Peter van Solen with Peter Hoevenaars inside. Van Solen going around the outside. All drifting out wide, Bob Herber and Bert van der Sverde right in front of him. Peter van Solen also goes out wide. Herber in 6th place. Van der Sverde moves up to 4th. Herber, little contact there. So your race leader, Peter Hoevenaars in the 1 Series. In 2nd, Marcel Norbert in his Seat Leon. And right in front of us now is Ferry Monster. Trying to drive inside. Bas Schotten in the Speedtech Silhouette. Can't get the move done. So race leader Peter Hoevenaars from Marcel Norbert. Peter van Solen lying in 3rd place. Looking back from Ferry Monster's view, that is Bob Herber's BMW. They are 6th and 7th on board with Herber. He's got Peter van Vliet for company behind. Bit of smoke from Ferry Monster's Seat Leon Supercopa. It's an hour-long race as ever. That might not be good news. Contact there. Herber just touches the back of the Seat, doesn't get by, but look, the yellow silhouette is right behind him. Peter van Vliet giving him a real run for his money for that 7th spot. Van Vliet already up 4 places from the grid. On board with Ferry Monster. Oh, looks like Bert van der Sverde, or maybe Peter van Solen clipped a tyre stack there. Doesn't seem to have done lasting damage. Right in front of us is Bas Schotten in that yellow Speedtech Silhouette. 4-litre BMW engined V6 car. And down into the Up Timmer chicane, all nose to tail. But Peter Hoevenaars has cleared off out front already. There is the race leader. Marcel Norbert holding up everybody else. The Seat not quite as fast as its rivals. Up the inside, Peter van Solen for 2nd place. Had to make the move early. Gets onto the loose. Onto that wet curb, but does make it stick. 4th place is Bert van der Sverde. And here is the battle now for 6th. Ferry Monster just in front of us. And in front of him, the yellow car, Bas Schotten. And they are all bunched up. Marcel Norbert struggling in his Seat now. Looks like he's smoking a little. Contact again with Herber and Monster. Smoke too from Ferry Monster Seat Leon, but not as much. And they're all trying to get by Marcel Norbert. Well, through has gone Bas Schotten. Now it's Ferry Monster's turn to try and find a way through. Looking back, you saw Bob Herber still under pressure from Peter van Vliet. Whoa, and Herber can't afford to get loose. Gets onto the gravel. That's going to cost him momentum. Van Vliet is coming up. But Herber deep in the corner under braking. Can he hold on? No, drifts out wide again. A real cut and thrust early in this race. Well, Bob Herber just surviving in 7th place. Ferry Monster trying to get by Marcel Norbert in front of us. And Herber's got to stay on the grey stuff. That's where the traction is. Trying to keep the momentum up, but Van Vliet will get by him. Well, the Monster Brothers gave it everything. They carved through the field. They got repeatedly blocked by another driver from their rival JR Motorsport team. After the pit stops, they led, but it didn't help them much. Koen Boekart's Peter van Solen right behind them at the checkered flag. So though Robin and Ferry Monster won their first race, not enough to claim the title. That went to Peter van Solen and Koen Boekarts. Koen saying, it's amazing. Robin was going so fast. I had a hard time keeping up with him, but I just managed to cling on. I was afraid he'd hold me up. That's how the game's normally played, but he was very fair and I managed to have no problems with him. Still had to push hard. It was pretty tricky with oil on the track, but I kept cool. The car was great. Yeah, champion. Well, despite the efforts of Robin and Ferry Monster, by a single point, Koen Boekarts and Peter van Solen claim the championship. Points leaders in the Sport 1 division, Priscilla Speelman and John Vantervoort, the BMW 1 Series GTR drivers. They could win the title on Saturday, but they wanted to show that they were the true championship leaders. The only one left to challenge them, Eric van den Munkhoff, 23 points adrift. So Saturday's race, and Priscilla Speelman setting the fastest lap time, passing van den Munkhoff late on in the race. And that means that the team scored enough points to win the title in the Sport 1 division with one race remaining. So congratulations to John and Priscilla, a much-deserved title after working their way through a number of technical difficulties during the season. Oh, super, she says, absolutely great. Near the end of the race, I finally caught up with Eric. I knew I had to get by him. I managed to get by. He had problems. So we're champions already, and that's fantastic, of course. Becoming the champion and winning the race, that's how you celebrate your title. Third place, young talent Tim Hummel. Second, runner-up in the championship, Eric van der Munkhoff. Sport 2 points leader has been Rob Neiman all season long. The Renault Clio driver's got a comfortable lead in the championship, but only if he doesn't run into trouble. Second, 33 points adrift, Mathieu Cars and Frank Bedorf. On Saturday, they managed to stay in front of Rob Neiman, but that wouldn't be enough to take the championship. Neiman did what he needed to do and took the crown.
Het is zo verschrikkelijk moeilijk en je weet dat je 3 dingen moet doen.
Such a difficult race, he said. You know you just got to do one thing, and that's keep the car on the track. And then in the second lap, bumping, overtaking, risky moves around me all throughout the race. You start to worry about everything. In the last couple of laps, it was clear we were going to make it, though. We're the champions on Saturday, and that's awesome. Local driver Nico Bayen led the race from start to finish, with Mathieu Cars and Frank Bedorf in second. New champion Rob Neiman in third. Well, Neiman beating the duo to the title, Kim Troyan moving up 1 place in the overall standings. As the teams packed up and swigged the last of the champagne, the organisers were already preparing for next year, and there'll be an extra class joining the Supercar Challenge in 2013. This is the Praga R1, an exciting, ambitious new project from the well-known karting brand Praga, bringing high performance to the racing track at a budget price. We had a sneak preview at Assen. The car's already proved to be a reliable concept with a 2-litre Renault Clio engine as a power unit, and years of development in aerodynamics will make sure that this car reaches impressive cornering speeds. It'll join the Supercar Challenge next year as a unique standalone class, joined by other sports cars like Radical, Saka and others. It's already promising to be an exciting season in 2013. But until then, thank you for watching us. We'll see you next year for the Supercar Challenge. This programme's brought to you by Dunlop Tyres, Autosportinsurance.com, Praga New Generation and Spa05.com.